What would you do if they brought the power grid down? And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power grid down. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum is predicting that a cyber pandemic, you can look this up, they've been running exercises about it this year, is inevitable. You're probably saying, what is a cyber pandemic? Doesn't make any sense. Well, first and foremost, the reason I'm even paying attention to the World Economic Forum and their exercises is because they notoriously, in 2019, ran an exercise for a coronavirus pandemic that oddly all became true. I mean, without one slight difference, they said that the coronavirus was going to escape from a wet market in South America. Of course, when the coronavirus swept the world in 2020, they said that it escaped from a wet market in China. You can still look that up, by the way. That's not a conspiracy theory. They simulated that coronavirus pandemic. It was the World Economic Forum in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in collaboration with Johns Hopkins University. The website is still up, and they say, the coronavirus pandemic is inevitable, and then boom, it happened the very next year. People say it's a conspiracy theory to believe that they knew that the coronavirus pandemic was going to happen. You don't have to believe it was a conspiracy theory, or you can believe it wasn't a conspiracy theory. The point is that they made the prediction, they called it inevitable, and then it happened. So for me personally, that signals to me that I should probably pay attention the next time the World Economic Forum makes a prediction and calls it inevitable. And lo and behold, they are predicting that a cyber pandemic is going to happen and that it is once again inevitable. So if you look into the exercise that they have run this year, I believe they ran it in July. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic, what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of it as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally, and the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid, and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge. If this sounds crazy, dystopian, and like a nightmare to you, first and foremost, this happens in other countries, right? Obviously, in Cuba, when the government needs to stop people from communicating, they just bring down the power grid, right? When the uprisings were happening in Cuba, I believe that was earlier this year. Coronavirus time feels like, I don't know if it was the end of last year or early this year. They just brought down the entire electrical grid. But of course, Western nations would never do something like that. If they do it, it's because they need to do it, not because they're becoming evil communist dictators, but because they would need to do it for our benefit.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic. Minister, Mr. Hermann Gref, dear participants, it's a great privilege to address you for the second year in a row here at the Cyber Polygon. We have come together today to discuss how we can develop secure digital ecosystems and protect companies, but also societies, from cyber attacks. We must do so with a broader mission in mind, to improve the state of our digital world by enhancing, on the one hand, global cooperation, but also public-private cooperation. I'm pleased that we are joined today by Prime Minister Justin. Dear Prime Minister, global and public-private cooperation is really critical to addressing our shared cybersecurity challenges. We are grateful for the long cooperation which the World Economic Forum has established with the Russian Federation, both with government but also with the business community. I wish to thank particularly Hermann Gref, CEO and Chairman of the Executive Board of Sberbank, and a committed partner of the World Economic Forum and actually a member of its Board of Trustees and a co-founder of the Center for Cybersecurity. We greatly, Hermann, appreciate your leadership in championing cybersecurity across the financial system and across the world. Allow me now to reflect on today's theme, which is to develop secure digital ecosystems. It is remarkable how quickly this goal has become so important around the world. 3 years ago, we initiated our Center for Cybersecurity at the World Economic Forum. We recognized already then the crucial importance of cybersecurity as a global issue and as a corporate challenge. We did not expect, however, that digital connectivity and cybersecurity would come to support and influence every aspect of our business and social lives, as it has done, particularly in the past year. Digital connections are embedded in our homes, our workplaces, and through operational technology, our critical infrastructure. This connectivity has allowed us to realize incredible efficiency, even in a world where we worked remotely. It is not an overstatement to say that it has enabled us to continue to function during a time of unprecedented crisis. Technology has been central to the way we have collectively managed the COVID-19 pandemic and the global crisis. Digital infrastructure made it possible to deliver essential services. It helped business to run. And it helped us to maintain contact with each other. Digitalization has thus helped to solve some of the major hurdles put in place by the pandemic. But it has also opened us up to new challenges. One of the most important amongst them is how to ensure digital technologies and communications are safe, secure, and trustworthy. Many technology leaders have noted that within a few short months, we have achieved advances in digital transformation that might otherwise have taken years. But this digital dividend of the COVID pandemic is fragile. Cyber incidents can undermine the trust in key online services, and they could derail adoption of socially valuable innovations. The World Economic Forum's Global Risk Report includes cybersecurity failure and IT infrastructure breakdowns in its top 10 risks, both by likelihood and by impact. The implication is clear. A lack of cybersecurity has become a clear and immediate danger to our society worldwide. We have seen in the past few months, for example, ransomware attacks targeting hospitals, critical infrastructure, school systems, the power grid, and many other essential services. Citizens are feeling the repercussions of cyber attacks directly. Citizens are impacted by energy shortages, delayed medical treatment, and other effects this new breed of audacious cyber attacks causes. This is not a problem that is easily solved. Ransomware attacks are complex, and criminal enterprises are increasing their scale and impact. This highlights the need for a structured, multi-stakeholder, multilateral approach to secure our society against them. In this, we must all work together. Governments are in charge of guaranteeing security, but the deep expertise that is needed to develop a secure cyber ecosystem often lies with the private sector. Similarly, just as governments are often pooling the resources which each other through international organizations such as Interpol to fight physical crime, we need more similar collaboration between governments and, I should add, private business to fight cybercrime. The good news is that such public-private collaboration efforts already exist, as we demonstrate today. Recognizing the need to mobilize a global response to the growing cyber threats, the World Economic Forum launched the Center for Cybersecurity, as I mentioned, in 2018. Our center provides an independent and impartial platform to foster collaboration between all members of the global cybersecurity community, both in the public and in the private sectors. Sberbank, together with other companies from around the world, is a founding member and actively involved in our initiatives aimed at addressing systemic cybersecurity challenges and, finally, to restore and to improve digital trust. During the pandemic, the paradigm shift to a digital way of life has made the role of cybersecurity as a global public good even more pronounced. Good cybersecurity enables business continuity at a time when a single point of failure in only one organization can become a systemic calamity with repercussions for the whole society. As our digital landscape expands, along with our dependence on it, we need to continuously reconsider and refine our expectations of cybersecurity. Going forward, it must now be one of the first thoughts and priorities that any organization has. It is one of the foundations of business sustainability and continuity in the future. And it is becoming an important part of every organization's brand and reputation. In this era and in the future, cybersecurity will be the foundation for trustworthy technologies and businesses. To help the economy to bounce back from the COVID-19 crisis, governments, enterprises, but also small business, will continue to need innovative ways to build and give access to services. In many cases, this means further connecting services and data, creating completely new digital and expanded digital ecosystems. This demands an understanding of cyber risks these new systems will face, and proactive efforts to build those systems with security by design principles in mind. In the early stages of the pandemic, we saw the adoption of large-scale working from home arrangements, cloud services, and video conferencing. This seemed transformational at the time, only a few short moments ago. But today, we are witnessing the proliferation of even more ambitious initiatives. So is, for example, the EU proposed digital law that aims to provide a safe way for citizens to access and link public and private services online. If new services are to be adopted at the speed necessary for long-term sustained economic recovery, citizens must be able to trust that the technologies are secure and that their assets and personal information and data are protected. The principle of trust, therefore, will be absolutely necessary. Finally, one of the lessons of the COVID-19 pandemic is also the notion of resilience. We have to protect ourselves not only against the virus, we also have to develop the ability to withstand a virus attack. In other words, masks are not sufficient. We need vaccines to immunize ourselves. The same is true for cyber attacks. Here too, we have to move from simple protection to immunization. We need to build IT infrastructures that have digital antibodies built in inherently to protect themselves. In conclusion, I would like to state again how essential it is to seize the high number of leaders that join the cyber polygon this year. During the course of today, we will test how to work together across organizations, across borders, and across the public and private sector. This is a significant step in preparing for an even more highly connected and, I hope, a highly secure and trusted future. I wish you every success.